There are some characters who seem built to survive anything, and yet, the more Coronation Street throws at Debbie Webster, the harder it becomes to watch her keep carrying pain that no one should have to face alone. No sooner is Debbie out of prison than life comes crashing down on her all over again. Instead of getting the fresh start she desperately needs, she is pulled straight into more stress, more heartbreak, and another devastating reminder that her dementia is getting worse. And somehow, standing right in the middle of it all, once again, is Carl, the very son who has already brought so much damage into her life. That is what makes this story hit so hard. Debbie has always been the kind of woman who meets trouble head-on. She is sharp, tough, proud, and never the type to crumble easily. Even now, with everything stacked against her, there is still that fighting spirit in her. But this time, the tragedy is that strength alone may not be enough to protect her from what is happening inside her own mind. Her time in prison has clearly taken a serious toll. Being trapped in a frightening, unfamiliar place every hour of every day has only sped up her decline, leaving her more confused and forgetful than before. There is something especially cruel about that, because Debbie is not just losing her freedom, she is also losing her sense of control, and for a woman like her, that may be the hardest part of all. The one unexpected light in that darkness has been Lou Michaelis. For longtime viewers, Lou is hardly someone who would normally be described as a source of comfort, which is exactly why this friendship stands out so much. When Debbie's appeal was hanging by a thread and her confusion threatened to ruin everything, Lou stepped in and protected her in the most dramatic way possible by deliberately causing a distraction. That moment says a lot. Debbie inspired loyalty in someone viewers would never have expected, and it proves that even in her weakest state, there is still something deeply powerful about her presence. Lou's sacrifice pays off, and Debbie's appeal is granted. She is finally set to return to the cobbles, where Ronnie and Kevin are waiting for her. That should feel like relief. It should feel like the beginning of something gentler. But the problem is that Debbie is not returning to peace. She is going back to a world where Carl is still lurking, and he has already made it clear that he sees her not as someone to protect, but as someone he can use. Carl being buried in debt explains exactly why he starts circling around Debbie again the moment she is back. He wants money, and more importantly, he wants access to the Chariot Square Hotel. That alone makes Debbie's return tense before it has even truly begun. Ronnie is bound to see straight through Carl's intentions, which means Debbie is likely to find herself stuck between the son who keeps draining her and the man who wants to shield her from further harm. That emotional pressure could be just as dangerous as any physical setback. And sadly, things only get worse from there. Debbie struggles to settle back into life at the hotel, and the cracks start showing almost immediately. During Tracy and Mary's meeting with a bride and her mother about wedding flowers, Debbie makes awkward remarks while serving champagne, and the situation quickly becomes uncomfortable. It is one of those moments that feels small on the surface, but underneath it reveals something much more painful. Debbie is trying to step back into the version of herself she used to be, but her condition is making that harder and harder to maintain. Then comes the confrontation with Summer. And that scene could be one of the most emotionally loaded of all. Summer wants answers about the night Billy died and whether Carl was the one driving the car. That puts Debbie in an impossible position. She is already fragile, already under pressure, and now she is being forced to face the truth of what Carl may have done while still carrying the consequences herself. The stress of that encounter seems to shake her badly. And what happens next only underlines how vulnerable she has become. When Ryan passes with 2 dangerously hot plates, Debbie grabs them on impulse and badly burns her hands. It is a horrible moment because it does not just show panic or distraction. It shows decline in a way that cannot be brushed off anymore. This is no longer about a few memory lapses that can be hidden behind a sharp comment or brave face. This is a woman whose condition is interfering with her instincts, her safety, and her ability to function in the life she is desperately trying to hold on to. What makes it even more devastating is that the following day brings confirmation in black and white. Debbie receives her latest scan results and learns that her dementia has taken a serious turn for the worse. That kind of scene is heartbreaking because it strips away denial. Up until then, there is always room to hope things are manageable, that maybe she can keep pushing on the way Debbie always has. But once it is written down medically, the reality becomes impossible to escape. This is where the story may become even more painful. Debbie has always fought through adversity, but this feels like the kind of battle where courage does not automatically lead to victory. The real question now is not whether she is strong enough, because she clearly is. The question is whether the people around her will finally be strong enough to protect her properly, especially from Carl, before even more damage is done. If the show keeps pushing Debbie from one blow to the next, viewers are likely to feel more protective of her than ever. And with Carl still desperate and Debbie's condition worsening, it feels like the pressure is building toward another major emotional breaking point on the street. If you want more Coronation Street updates, analysis, and spoilers, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next video.